For many of us, the most complicated part of living in quarantine is this unknown future that stretches out before us like so many days, indistinguishable one from the other. We are grateful to have flattened the curve, and those who are healthy are certainly counting their blessings. But we are social creatures, and relying this heavily on technology to be together, it just feels unnatural. And so Shabbat has never felt more important, as these days can often blur together, meetings running into one another on the internet, mornings and evenings sometimes even seemingly interchangeable. But our heritage teaches us to note every moment of the passing time as sacred and special. Day turns to night, the week ends and Shabbat begins. Our heritage teaches us to anticipate blessing, even those scheduled for days or even weeks from now. Several congregants have asked me this week to explain a bit about the counting of the Omer, which feels as if it is sort of mirroring quarantine right now. Traditionally, we count these days from Passover to Shavuot as a journey from liberation of Egypt to the moment of revelation at Mount Sinai. But they are supposed to be days of anticipation, a looking ahead towards this great joy that is hidden just around the corner. Well, it has been difficult to count the Omer this year. It has been difficult to hear of school cancellations and furloughs and layoffs, vacations postponed. Just this week, our own camp programs canceling their summers. Because each of these things should represent a moment of great joy, the fulfillment of vocation, the celebration of achievement, and the warm feeling at camp of a home away from home. Summers at Gucci and Jewish camps like it are the highlight of the year for thousands of campers and counselors and staff, many cantors and rabbis. And while the decision to cancel was made with great compassion and wisdom, we have darkened the bright horizon of a landscape that was already desolate. Our confirmation students, who normally look forward to Shavuot itself, not only as the beginning of summer, but as this culmination service of their 12 years of religious education, have had that experience taken away from them. Campers, looking forward to their once-in-a-lifetime experience of being a last-year camper, a first-year camper, or an avodanic, they have watched it evaporate after years of anticipation. And the ways in which we will attempt to make up for these losses through Zoom and FaceTime, they will simply not replace them. As a religion, we have trained ourselves to recognize that no matter how great the oppression or the loss that we might feel today, there is always a greater, brighter, better future awaiting us. We're sometimes accused of looking at the present, actually, with this unwarranted negativity as Jews, seeking out shadows where perhaps none exist. We are also often accused of looking at that future through rose-colored glasses, imagining this utopia that cannot exist, a world without hunger or war or famine or plague. And I agree that the Pollyanna in us, it doesn't serve us. We should force ourselves to remain realistic about today as well as tomorrow. But in this moment, today, while we are experiencing something so unprecedented in all of our lifetimes, I think that perhaps reality might just not be enough to get us through. There are these dangers on every side. If we become too enmeshed in this 24-hour news cycle and the despair of it presented there, it's dangerous. But also, if we are unwilling to see the pain and the true loss that is being felt by every one of us, we are in danger of losing perspective, losing hope, and falling into that malaise, that depression. There is great wisdom in pain. It is healthy and it is healing to allow our feelings their full expression, to experience both optimism as well as the negative, the highs and the lows. is the only way that we might move through adversity towards wholeness. And opening our city now, opening our buildings, pretending that we are safer than we are, it does nothing to make it real. It only pushes away those real feelings, the real fear. The ancient rabbis understood this about human behavior. They wrote about two opposing forces that they believed motivated every human being. They called these forces an inclination to good and an inclination towards evil, Yetzer HaTov and Yetzer Hara. But it would be a mistake to simplify this equation of theirs into the image of an angel on one shoulder and a devil with a pitchfork on the other, both of them trying to persuade us. Both inclinations, argue the rabbis, are critically important for us to remain these beautiful, complicated creatures that we are, endowed with divinity as well as humanity. In fact, the rabbis say, without the Yetzer Hara, that inclination that moves us to negativity, to dissatisfaction, and towards evil, without it, they say, we would simply accept this world as it is, and we would not push when pushing is needed, or fight when a fight is required. Without our righteous indignation and our anger, we would accept the world's problems as unsolvable. And then, honestly, what, if anything, would we be motivated to do? It is exactly our dissatisfaction, our frustration, our loss, and our anger that motivate us not to accept those things that we shouldn't accept, that we cannot accept, the things that we need to change. Some of these emotions make us feel uncomfortable. When we see the tears of someone close to us, we have been taught that the right thing to do is to hand them a tissue. The script suggests that when we cry, that we should apologize. We've all been in that situation. But I wonder, what message are we sending when we consciously or unconsciously ask someone to clean their tears, or somehow send the message that an emotional outburst has inconvenienced others that would require an apology? I mean, we mean well. Handing someone a tissue clearly is meant as a kindness. It is not criticism. But often we are so uncomfortable with negative emotions that we send these signals that they should be kept at bay. The Yetzer HaTov, the inclination to good, it invites us to find the silver lining in moments of darkness and clouds. It asks us to find gratitude in our daily lives, even in isolation. And surely there's much to be thankful for. We're grateful for this technology. It allows us to connect. We're grateful for the food on our tables, our homes, our families, and so many, many blessings. But the discomfort we feel is real. What we are living through is not normal. It is not manageable. It is not okay. It is frustrating. It is depressing. It is difficult and sad. And we should have the most compassion for these emotions in our children, who don't understand why this is happening, only that their graduations, their bright future plans, their social lives, the lives that they care about, and the most cherished place on earth that they visit for only a few weeks each summer has been taken away. What other response would feel right if not tears? Let us not take away this sadness nor downplay its significance. Our kids' very identities are being shaped by this experience, and the ramifications will be significant. It is healthy now for us to lean in to our Yetzer Hara, which tells us that this is not normal. The malaise, the frustration, the anger, the uncertainty, it will all help us to reconnect with normal when we do see it again, and we will. All of our negativity, it will help us appreciate our freedom when we emerge from isolation, and then it will be easy to find words of gratitude on our lips. Tonight, I want to remind us all not to swallow it down, that bitterness that we feel. The time of slavery is past. The maror has been cleared from our Seder plates. And now we have entered the hot and dry air and searing sand of the desert. The Israelites, too, complained almost every step of the way as they made their way to Sinai. We are in good Jewish tradition. Perhaps that was because they, too, were only human, with an inclination to good as well as an inclination to evil. Perhaps both of those allowed them to appreciate the land flowing with milk and honey when they finally got there. Shabbat Shalom.